Now, from Las Vegas, this is 13 Action News Live at 3.
Right now on 13 Action News Live at 3, a federal judge sends former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort to jail. We have the very latest. Plus, Clark County could finalize its gender diversity policy. We have more on what's next for the school district. And we're seeing some changes in our temperatures thanks to some valley wind and maybe even some more rain. But we begin with breaking news. US 93 at the Hoover Dam is back open, and as you can see from these viewer pictures, there was a major traffic backup. It was closed for about 2 hours due to a person with a gun in an armored vehicle. Police say the man was stopped in the travel lanes in the middle of the dam. He eventually crossed over into Arizona, where he was arrested without incident. The Hoover Dam facility is still closed, and tours are suspended until further notice. All right, well, now let's go over to 13 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brian Schofield. Hey, Brian.
All right, hey, we're already seeing changes on the way like advertised today. Those clouds are just part of it. And, for the next 24 hours or so, we might even have a chance to squeeze out a shower. But the chances are not as big as getting the bigger wind in the valley. That's really our focus. But so far, it's just cloud cover. But we've seen strong gusts closer to 30, 40 miles per hour today. So we're expecting those to stick around through the evening hours as well. So plan on that. Sustained winds, no picnic either. Not just the gusts big, but sustained winds up to 20 plus miles per hour. We'll keep the temperatures still on the warm side today, but they're cooling down big time. But your 13 First Alert is we're actually throwing in some wind for Father's Day. I didn't want to have to do that, but that's on the way. I'll show you how strong it will get coming up in your 13 First Alert forecast just ahead.
All right, thanks, Brian. Well, after an hours-long school board meeting, the Clark County School District is now one step closer to finalizing its first ever policy for gender-diverse students. 13 Action News anchor Leslie Marine has reaction from parents and students on both sides of this controversial issue.
Now, there were about 4 hours of disagreement before the board finally came to a decision right around midnight, voting 4-3 to pass the gender diverse policy. But not a lot of parents are happy about this. The district's first of its kind policy addresses how bullying would be handled for transgender and gender diverse students, as well as bathroom and locker room access and overnight field trips. In the proposed policy, much of these decisions would be made on a case-by-case basis, as schools would have to come up with an individual plan for each transitioning student. Now, parents with transitioning students say this policy has long been needed, while those on the other side are frustrated, still pushing for gender-neutral options.
If what we're asking for and what they're asking for is really equal rights, then everyone should have equal access to the restroom of their biology and a gender-neutral option.
My first year, which was 6th grade when I first transitioned, it was a really tough year for me.
There's so much fear, people don't understand, and they didn't know what to do, and we've come a long way since then.
The policy does have a way to go before it is officially finalized for the next school year. The board will meet again on this topic in August. Reporting, Leslie Marine, 13 Action News.
Happening today, a candlelight vigil is planned for the teen murdered during a modified version of Russian roulette. The game of chance is normally played when a person points a gun at their own head, but police say in this case the suspects were the ones pointing a gun at the victim's head. A total of 3 teens have been arrested in connection with 17-year-old Matthew Minkler's death. They're facing charges along the lines of destruction of evidence and accessory to murder. The police report stated the teens were playing the gun game in a vacant home in Henderson last Friday. No one called 911. Tonight's vigil will take place at 8 p.m. at Pebble Park in Henderson. And in Kansas, police confirmed 2 sheriff's deputies were shot today in downtown Kansas City. One deputy is dead and another is critically wounded. They were overcome by an inmate while driving a transport vehicle near the county courthouse. The suspect was also wounded in the shooting and is undergoing surgery. Well, Paul Manafort had posted a $10 million bond, and he had been on home confinement and required to wear a monitoring device. But now a federal judge says Manafort can no longer remain free before trial. She cited the latest charges that he had tried to influence the testimony of 2 witnesses. ABC's Stephanie Ramos reports.
He stood on the stage with Donald Trump as he prepared to accept the Republican nomination. Now Paul Manafort is behind bars. His bail was revoked after prosecutors accused him and an associate of contacting 2 witnesses trying to get them to lie about Manafort's lobbying work for Ukrainian politicians with ties to Vladimir Putin. One witness making the explosive claim Manafort was trying to, quote, suborn perjury. U.S. Marshals took Manafort into custody immediately after the judge's ruling. His wife seen leaving the courthouse alone. Manafort also faces several felony charges, including tax evasion, bank fraud, money laundering conspiracy, and acting as an unregistered foreign agent. He has pled not guilty. His lawyer isn't talking.
Any comments at all?
On Twitter, President Trump seemed to defend his former campaign chairman, writing, "Wow, what a tough sentence for Paul Manafort, who has represented Ronald Reagan, Bob Dole, and many other top political people and campaigns. Didn't know Manafort was the head of the mob. What about Comey and Crooked Hillary and all of the others? Very unfair." But earlier in the day, before the judge's decision, the president appearing to distance himself from Manafort.
He worked for me, for 49 days or something? A very short period of time.
Despite the president's tweet, Manafort has not been sentenced yet. His first trial is scheduled for September. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Washington.
Las Vegas headliner Wayne Newton is upping security at his Valley estate after a pair of burglars broke in Wednesday night. The family is now adding 24-hour armed guards, according to Johnny Katz with the Review-Journal. Newton and his wife scared the burglars off after arriving home from his performance at Bally's. Police tell us the burglars made their way in the home through a window. It's still not clear if anything was taken. Well, the Vegas Golden Knights inaugural season may be over, but that doesn't stop fans from getting ready for next year. Since the team is sold out of full memberships for this upcoming season, if seats become available, members on what's called the I Can't Wait list will get first dibs on select seats. The membership starts at $100, and there's several perks that come along with it. Well, roller coasters can be a little scary, but one Florida thrill ride turned out to be scarier than expected after a couple of people actually fell off the ride. And a little later, the heroic story of a fisherman at the right place at the right time comes to the aid of a drowning swimmer. And remember, Chopper 13 is bringing you breaking news fast and first. We'll be right back. A roller coaster ride in Daytona Beach, Florida takes a frightening turn when the cars derail, sending two riders flying into the air and cars dangling more than 3 stories high. ABC's Maggie Rulli has the latest.
Chaos and panic at an amusement park in Daytona Beach.
I got at least 2 people possibly hanging out on this roller coaster.
The Sandblaster roller coaster derails, leaving this car dangling in midair.
Barely hanging on by a thread, it looks like. Like it could have snapped off at any point.
The 2 riders in front thrown 34 feet to the ground. The Daytona Beach Fire Department says both were determined to be trauma alerts.
And we just hear a big loud boom and we just take off running.
The other 8 riders on board remain trapped, dangling high in the air. Bystanders rush into action, some seen here holding up the hanging car, desperately trying to keep it from crashing to the ground.
They all ran in and were trying to hold her up in the cart to keep the cart from falling, and they were just screaming, "Don't move, don't move."
Firefighters respond, and one by one, the trapped riders crawl their way across the fire truck's boom to safety. 6 of them then rush to the hospital. According to an inspection report obtained by the News Journal, the 40-year-old coaster was shut down at least twice in the last 2 years after inspectors found numerous problems. Each time, repairs were made and the ride was reopened. Right now, there are no federal regulations when it comes to amusement park rides, and in Florida, it's the Department of Agriculture that's in charge of inspections. During an overnight look, they found the ride to be in compliance with state law, but say they're launching an investigation to see if anyone should be held accountable. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
And it could prove to be a costly mistake. Take a look as this kid actually causes this very expensive statue to fall over. Well, now his mom and dad could be stuck with a major bill. And a nice swim turns into a fight for survival, but luckily a nearby fisherman is there to help. We have the details on what happened. Welcome back. Well, a man and woman may be stuck with a big bill after their young son toppled a $132,000 sculpture inside a Kansas community center. The incident happened during a wedding reception last month, and it was all caught on surveillance video. Tom Dempsey reports.
Sarah Goodman remembers the wedding reception at Tomahawk Ridge Community Center, starting off with plenty of celebration.
I think there was a few different parties going on, bridal showers, birthday parties.
A joyous occasion that in a moment turned into something much different.
I hear yelling. Where is your mother?
Surveillance video capturing Sarah's 5-year-old son hugging a sculpture on display before it topples over on top of him. He struggles for a bit when suddenly it falls to the ground. After rushing in to help, Sarah soon learned the sculpture's price tag.
Maybe this is like $800 or something. No, it's $132,000. I'm sorry. We're finished here.
Damage that an insurance company said the family would be on the hook to pay for.
My children are well supervised, but all people get distracted.
The two parents now questioning the safety of the display.
It's in the main walkway, not a separate room, not plexiglass, not protected, not held down.
The city calling the incident an unfortunate situation, but saying the artwork should not have been touched.
There's a societal responsibility that you may not interact with it, if it's not designed for interaction.
An expensive price tag, leaving the family wondering what could lie ahead.
So the insurance company says, and if they're going to take it to lawyers, we don't know.
Break it, you buy it, I guess. That was Tom Dempsey reporting. We'll check out this amazing image of a pipeline fire in Kansas. An explosion happened at a gas pipeline today in a city north of Wichita. Dispatchers say flames could be seen shooting 75 to 100 feet in the air. So far, no reports of any injuries and no evacuation orders have been issued. Natural gas in the pipeline will be allowed to burn off, then crews will shut it down. Well, a dramatic rescue out of Ohio. A young woman is sucked into a dam while swimming, but she's miraculously saved by a fisherman who jumped in to pull her out. ABC's Ariel Reshef reports.
I'm over here at the Charlottesville Dam, and one of my friends just got sucked down.
Around 2:20 a.m., authorities say 18-year-old Regina Williams was swimming in an Ohio lake with friends when she was suddenly sucked into the undercurrent of a dam.
Where is she at? I need to know. She's right into the gutters. There's no way we can get down to her.
The force of the water sweeping her helplessly downstream.
Someone fishing down here just found her.
Okay, where is she?
Yeah.
Tell me where she is.
We found her.
Jared Timms, who was fishing near the spillway, spotted Williams in distress and instinctively jumped to her rescue.
I don't think there even was a decision. I just went. I just threw my pole and just went straight in.
Managing to swim her to shore, where he immediately started CPR.
I was giving her CPR. I was still waist deep in water.
Emergency crews arriving moments later. Williams then rushed to the hospital.
How many people are out here at 2:15 in the morning, that know CPR?
Williams now in critical condition. Her family telling ABC affiliate WEWS they want to thank Timms for his heroic actions.
I just hope they're, able to get her to come back around and she's all right.
Well, it's only June and there's already been several wildfires across Southern California. Fire crews are urging people to take precautionary measures this fire season. On Tuesday, there was a wildfire over Benedict Canyon. Flames were at least 15 feet tall, working their way up the hillside. With this week's fire, officials say there's an extreme risk of another year of some severe wildfires.
Be ready to leave early and get out of the area so that the fire departments that are all coordinated can work well together.
All firefighting agencies say they are ready and fully staffed across Southern California. Well, now we want to go to 13 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brian Schofield. How's it going out there?
It's going to be a good weekend ahead, but we've got to contend with the wind, and today is the unofficial start of the weekend, Tom, so that's the way it works. So far we're seeing cloud cover move in, stronger wind move in, and we forecast that for today, and the temperatures at least have come down. Remember, it was this past weekend, just 2 days ago, we were at 108, now at 100. We're happy about that. 98 Henderson right now, so that looks good. Yeah, but here's the rub. We have to contend with wind to get there. Henderson, 38 mile-per-hour gusts right now, sustained winds at 28, 25 Boulder City, 33 mile-per-hour winds. We kind of expect you folks there to get some stronger winds, and certainly along Hoover Dam as well. 23 mile-per-hour winds for Laughlin, Bullhead City. But let me show you what's down south. Look at all of it. There's all of that moisture. How much of that will get here? Not this. Maybe more of this, the drier stuff, maybe just a little pockets of that moisture there. Closer in, we told you we'd have a chance at maybe a clap of thunder through tomorrow because certainly it's volatile enough for that, but we're not seeing that close enough. That's down near Parker, Arizona, Lake Havasu City as well. So we're watching it, but most of the moisture, once again, tracks out toward the east. We have a chance for tomorrow to squeeze out a shower, but not by Sunday. What comes in Sunday? Drier air. That's the good part, but we're also going to keep the wind around longer. It looked like it would end Saturday and everything would move east, but it doesn't doesn't look like that's going to happen now. So yes, we do dry out through early next week, but on your Father's Day, we're going to get some stronger winds. So maybe you're planning to sit out on the patio of a restaurant. You'll want to just check on the weather that day, because I think we'll get some stronger wind that day. It might be better to be indoors. But the temperatures still will be nice. We're not forecasting those changing too much. If anything, we've got some nice temperatures overnight in the 70s, only a few 80s around, 90s for tomorrow, really 90s all weekend long. So that sounds good to me. We'll end off the weekend. Father's Day looks like a good one at 94, but once again, we'll have the wind to contend with. And I guess here's the second alert. That was your first alert. Father's Day is changing. Second alert, we're changing the numbers at the end of next week because it looks like we'll have an extended period of some warmer weather. Not 90s as far as the eye can see, but we're warming things up to the low 100s as summer begins officially. It felt like it already started, really. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Brian. Well, some changes are coming in our relationship with China. The Trump administration announces a 25% tariff on $50 billion worth of Chinese goods. And now China says it plans to retaliate. We'll be right back. Today, President Trump announcing 25% tariffs on Chinese imports he threatened back in April will soon go into full effect. And China is answering right back, fueling fears of a global trade war and sending the stock market spiraling down. ABC's Maggie Rulli has the latest.
The tit-for-tat over trade is escalating.
We're just announcing very big tariffs today on China.
President Trump revealing the 25% tariff of $50 billion worth of Chinese imports this morning on Fox News. The Chinese respond nearly immediately, fighting back with their own tariffs of, quote, equal strength. The Chinese Commerce Ministry statement isn't giving details, but a $50 billion list of possible targets announced in April included soybeans, orange juice, whiskey, and beef.
The impact will go far beyond just tariffs. We have to recognize that global supply chains are extremely complex, and any kind of tariff action which impacts the relationship between the U.S. and China will also disrupt global supply chains.
The president says the tariffs will, in part, help protect American intellectual property. Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer agrees, tweeting his support and saying China is our real trade enemy. Today's tariffs are certainly less controversial than those announced earlier this month.
We need protection. Everybody's taking advantage of us.
Ruffling some feathers with steep tariffs on aluminum and steel imposed on some of our closest allies, Canada, Mexico, and Europe. All three of those countries have also promised a swift and severe backlash. The U.S. says tariffs on more than 800 Chinese goods will go into effect starting July 6, and China's answered right back, slapping tariffs on about 545 American goods. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
All right, well, right now we're working on some all-new stories for you for 13 Action News Live at 3:30. Attention dog owners, a warning today from a local vet about a bug attack on your four-legged friends. And some people believe this cold case is now solved thanks to the unconventional methods of detectives. We'll explain after the break.